Bears fans everywhere are getting excited about the start of the Chicago Bears official season. And on today's episode, I want to look at a handful of players that I think are set up to have breakout seasons in the 2024 season. We're also going to look at some of the biggest reasons for concern that could hold the Chicago Bears' success back in next season. And Matt Eberflus says why Velus Jones made this roster. We're going to talk about all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. So I want to talk about and start this off positively, right? I want to talk about some Bears players that I think are set to have big seasons for the Chicago Bears next year. Of course, overlooking players like Montez Sweat, things like that. Some of the players that are going to have extremely build off what they did last season and have big seasons. And we do have one rookie on this list as well. The first player that I want to talk about is Jaquan Brisker. And for Jaquan Brisker, a lot of it comes down to, can he stay healthy for a full season? We've seen Jaquan Brisker and how he's really rounded out his game and turned into a damn good safety under the Chicago Bears tenure. One of the first picks by Ryan Poles after he took over this team. And Jaquan Brisker has a lot of, hype around him. He's one of the leaders on this defense for sure. 25 years old. He was picked in the second round at number 48. But the thing with Jaquan Brisker is that it hasn't always been consistent. He's played 15 games each in both of his first season and the second season. So it's not like he missed a whole lot of games, but he has had games of not being banged up, of being banged up there. When you look at his first season, he had 4 sacks his rookie season with the Chicago Bears, which actually was towards the top of the sack number for the Bears, and they came down to 1 in the second year. Also, he had 2 fumbles forced last year compared to 1 in his rookie season, so he grew there. 1 interception each in his rookie and second year there. But this is a season with the depth that we have there at the cornerback position, in the secondary overall, and how the linebacker crew, the defensive line is definitely upgraded. The fact is this defense is coming in building off a lot of confidence from what it had last year. There's a lot of reason to think that Jaquan Brisker is set up to really have a breakthrough year. You also got Kevin Byard out there with him, who on paper at least seems like to be a really good pairing with Jaquan Brisker in that safety group there. So let's see Jaquan Brisker really take that game to the next level. The next player that I'm going to name with him is another player that was drafted in the same class as him, and that's Kyler Gordon. Kyler Gordon went from his first year with the Chicago Bears looking okay, right? Looking okay. In the second year, moving to that slot and him excelling at that role. And the thing that's going to make Kyler Gordon such an important part of this Bears defense is his ability to blitz from where he is at that safety position. His ability to defend the run as well. How much better of a tackler he's become if you just look at how he's grown over the course of his rookie year till now. Listen, Kyler Gordon is set up for a really big season, and the fact that he now has a second year in that slot where he absolutely thrived at last year. And when you think that Kyler Gordon can go from a player that has slowly become one of the favorite of Chicago Bears fans to a favorite around the NFL, when you look at the fact of the new eyes that are going to be around the Chicago Bears team, not only from Hard Knocks, but also from having Caleb Williams here as well, Kyler Gordon is set up to have a really big season. And I'll go so far as to say, out of any player that I name on this list, he has the best chances to have a truly breakout year where he's starting to be looked at as one of the best cornerbacks in the game of football. Staying in that secondary, though, because the next player that I want to talk about is also in that secondary, and that is Tyrique Stevenson. Listen, Tyrique Stevenson showed so much in his rookie year, and even coming into that season, winning the starting cornerback role. It came down to him competing with Terrell Smith as well in that case. But Tyrique Stevenson showed kind of a complementary skill set to Jalen Johnson, right? Tyrique Stevenson's kind of more natural ability to be a ball hawk when it comes down to it. 4 interceptions in his rookie year, and that could be even more this year when you look at how much better of a place our pass rush is than what it was last season. 16 games played for him his rookie year, 86 total tackles in that time, the 4 interceptions that we talked about, but the 16 passes deflected that Tyrique Stevenson had last season puts him towards the top of the league. Tyrique Stevenson has already flashed some abilities that put his skill set that he has there. It's just how does he maximize on that skill set? That's the thing that we're looking for from him next season. I tell you what, Tyrique Stevenson is really set up to have a big year, I think, for the Chicago Bears. And like I've talked about many times before, like You look at that 16 passes deflected, that already put him at number 5 overall in the NFL with passes deflected. The only players that had more passes deflected than Tyreek Stevenson were Benjamin St. Justy, Paulson Albido with the Saints, Darius Williams, and Shavarius Ward. That's it. That's it, right? So that puts him already in elite category when it comes down to it. You pair that with the number of interceptions that he was able to have as well from that group of players that I named there. He had the second most interceptions, and he was already top 10 in the league in interceptions last year. So when it comes down to it, Tyreek Stevenson has such a great skill set. And so overall, him building off what he did last year is a big thing that you can kind of bet on, and we'll see what happens there. Coming out the defense, right? Well, no, let's stay on the defense, actually. Javon Dexter. And we already know why, right? This Bears team bet on Javon Dexter big time with not going out there and getting any type of 3-tech to really compete with him for that starting 3-tech position and role. He had a solid enough rookie season, right? Being used more of as a depth piece. He's coming in now as the clear-cut starter. He's worked on his game. The get-off that he had a little bit of a problem with has seemed to really kind of gotten really better at him. He's understanding pad level a lot better as well. And with Javon Dexter, it may not end up being the sack number, where it's probably going to be looked at more of the pressure and things like that. But he has a defensive-minded head coach in Matt Eberflus and Eric Washington that believe in him. And one thing, we've talked about it so much here, Matt Eberflus has said the 3-tech is probably one of the most important positions in his defensive scheme, and we haven't had the 3-tech that Matt Eberflus has gone after that he's wanted since he's come here. Javon Dexter could be that guy. Now, he has a lot to prove here, but I think that to see that Javon Dexter really making a big leap in this season is not outside of the realm of possibility at all. So, Eric Washington has been a really good coach over the course of his NFL career, getting the most out of interior defensive linemen as well. So when it comes down to it, Javon Dexter is going to have a lot thrust upon him. He's going to be asked to do a lot. And also with the fact that we've added some depth at that defensive tackle position, but it's still clear-cut Javon Dexter. He's probably going to play a lot of snaps there. How he grows in the pass game and in the run game, how solidly he plays overall, it's big. And really in a lot of ways, because we didn't go out and get like the clear-cut starting defensive edge there, Javon Dexter has a lot of eyes on him and what he's going to be able to bring and how much he can help assist that defensive edge out there as well, opposite of Montez Sweat. So I think that Javon Dexter is poised for a big season, I should say, for the Chicago Bears, and we can see how you can build off that. Now, switching to the offensive side of the ball, Darnell Wright. Shout out to Bobby, who called the Bears drafting Darnell Wright last season, whereas a lot of other Bears fans were focused on other positions. Darnell Wright has the chance to really, he showed so much promise in his rookie year, but to solidify himself as one of the better offensive linemen in the game of football. And, again, Darnell Wright has the potential out the wazoo. It's crazy the potential that Darnell Wright has. I would not be surprised in a year where the offensive line should be improved, right? And that he grows. Like the fact that as a rookie, he looked as good as what he did on that offensive line, considering all the bad play at the center position, the up and down nature of who was next to him, the injuries and things like that. If this offensive line could be a little bit more consistent as far as with who's out there on the field with him, could build that continuity, and we get up to the level of being a solid offensive line overall in the league, hey, Darnell Wright is set and poised to have a really big season and could very well break out for the Chicago Bears next season. And I think that it's not outside that realm of possibility to look at Darnell Wright as a player that can really, really make a big impact for the Bears. And it just comes down to how well does he grow and how good that overall that offensive line is. When it comes to offensive lines, you can have some solid ones, right? But it's about how everything fits together. You can have some really good players on your offensive line, but if they're only as good as their weakest link. And that is one of the things we'll talk about here in the next segment as well, when some things to be concerned for the Bears season. But overall, Darnell Wright is one that I really think you got to look at, can have a breakout year on that offensive side of the ball. And then outside of that, I know that, he's a new signing, and I don't know if it's right to call it a breakout year, but DeAndre Swift, there's so much doubt around Swift, and I've continued hearing it, right? When you look at it, he did have his only over 1,000-yard rushing season last year with the Philadelphia Eagles. He had 5 touchdowns, which was tied for the second most in his career. He had his rookie year 8. Every other season than that has been 5. But I think that DeAndre Swift coming into a system where he's the clear-cut number 1 to start with, that we're going to look for that balance between the run and the pass, how he's going to be also used in the passing game as well. When you look at it, over 1,400 yards over his 4 years in the NFL so far, in a Shane Waldron system, I think DeAndre Swift is going to have a big impact year, and we could be very well looking at the 25-year-old as having what can be labeled a breakout year. The very last player I'm going to talk about here, and you guys can let me know who you think is going to break out, but the very last player is Austin Booker. And by that, I don't mean that it's going to be his best year, but I mean that for a player that most people thought was extremely raw, and he's already shown maybe he's added a lot to his game, even from how his college season ended. Austin Booker, all eyes are going to be on Austin Booker and what he can bring this year. And we don't know if he's going to win that starting position outright or not. I can't wait till the first official depth chart is released. But Austin Booker is going to be in that defensive end rotation. And because Matt Eberflus has already said they're going to be going with the hot hand, Austin Booker has a chance to really submit himself as being that starting defensive edge there for the future of the Chicago Bears. And if the Bears can get their edge of the future out of the draft and where they got him at, the position they got him at, I've already said it. Austin Booker has the chance to be one of the biggest steals in Ryan Poles' career, and seeing the foundation that he lays this season in his rookie year is going to be great to see how he builds off that trajectory going forward. But that's my list. Let me know who you guys think could break out next season for the Chicago Bears. But with that said, we started off with the good. Let's start with some things that could be bad, right? Everybody's excited about the Chicago Bears right now, rightfully so, and we get excited every year around this time. Now, sometimes things come crashing down for the Chicago Bears and Bears fandom shortly after the season, and so we have to look at some things that could be a hindrance to the Chicago Bears having the success that we hope they can have this upcoming year. And the first thing that we want to start off with, of course, is the thing I've been harping on all season. While they were better than I was expecting, it's still the offensive line. And like I've said many times before, it's not just about whatever production or performance you think you can get from that offensive line. You also got to look at the injury concerns there. That is one of the biggest reasons. Already starting off with Ryan Bates being hurt, right? Already starting off with that. Tevin Jenkins is good to miss a couple of games each season. He came into that. So, we'll see that what happens there. Nate Davis is a big sign for concern as well for his health and everything else. So there's things with that offensive line that we still don't feel quite safe in, right? And with as much talent as the Chicago Bears have on the offensive side of the ball, that the offensive line shapes up right now, at least to be one of the biggest things that can hold them back. And that is something that they're going to have to prove over the course of the season. And I know that Ryan Poles, Matt Eberflus, everybody's hoping that this offensive line is going to be better than expected, right? Ryan Poles has already said that he has some confidence in that offensive line more than what a lot of people were expecting. He's actually talked really positively about that line. He said this is the best depth I've ever had at that offensive line position. And he's not wrong. He's not wrong to say that this is the most quality depth that we've had. When you look at players that have left this offensive line over the last couple of years, Lucas Patrick, Sam Mustipher, J. Tyree Carter, Zachary Thomas, Sam Mustipher, which I already mentioned, Riley Reif, all these guys gone, right? And those were guys that just did not perform up to the level of the Chicago Bears at depth pieces or anything else. We came in, we brought in some guys that can project to be better. Matt Pryor, Ryan Bates, Kieran Amagaje, Doug Kramer Jr. still on this team, Bill Murray, who played really well as well. We have better depth. But the question is how well is that offensive line going to stand up to the rigors of the NFL season, and if they can stay healthy? I do think this is a solid offensive line when fully healthy. And, they still have their glaring holes and things that they need to prove. Let's make no mistake about that. But it still comes down to, can you stay healthy? Because no matter how good you are or not, if you can't stay healthy, you're a hindrance. And so that's what it comes down to with this Bears team. Like I said, we can talk about talent. I can get into the talent aspect if we wanted to break that down. But the biggest concern there for me, outside of the talent, if you even feel that they have the talent, how much are they going to be able to stay on the field? And that's one of the biggest questions here as well. So let's hope that that's the case. Let's hope that it's the case that this Bears team offensive line is much better, and surprises me once again, but it still is one of the biggest concerns and one of the biggest possible hindrances for the Chicago Bears having a great season, at least in my opinion. The next one is will the Chicago Bears defensive line be enough? Yeah, the Chicago Bears defensive line, and I got to point it out, give credit to it. I can't remember who pointed it out in the comment section the last episode, is that while this defensive line is drastically improved and they finished the season playing much better than what they started it off, they did finish the season against some of the not the better offensive lines in the league. So we're hoping that this team can pick up where it left off from before. We definitely hope that. Montez Sweat, we've already known the addition that he is. Having DeMarcus Walker be able to go back to being flexed between the inside and outside is really good. Darrell Taylor, we got him cheap, right? But He's a guy that's been able to get really good sack production, but you got to also think, hey, why were we able to get him so cheap, right? And then outside of that, it's a lot of unproven guys. Dominique Robinson, unproven. Austin Booker, unproven, even though I listed him as one of my guys that could have a breakout season. He's still unproven. So you still got to give him that he's still an unproven commodity here so far, right? Daniel Hardy, another unproven guy. So because of that, while there are still reasons to be excited about this defensive line, there's still enough there to question of, is the defensive line going to be able to live up the expectations that they ended last season on? I think they can. But again, this is a list of things that could be a hindrance to the Chicago Bears. Not necessarily things that I think will be, but there are things to look out for that could tell the story of what's the difference between a solid Bear season from a great Bear season, where we kind of exceed expectations. So that defensive line and the production that they're able to get and pressure on the quarterback, I'm not really too worried about them as a run defense. I'm just not. Maybe I should be, but overall, I think we have some solid production and producers there. Andrew Billings is really good in the run. We've talked about DeMarcus Walker. When he plays on the interior, he's better in pass rush. He's better in run coverage when he's on the edge. So you have some versatility there. The breakout years from maybe Austin Booker, Javon Dexter, that can really help out the Bears. But again, the serious question is that how much is this team closer to what it was, how it finished the season last season to what it was at the beginning of the season? And that's the case. Montez Sweat had 12 and a half sacks last season. Is he going to have another year like that, right? Can he repeat that performance? Now, all 12 of that wasn't with the Chicago Bears, but we may very well need that over the course of a full season. So that's definitely one thing to look at as well. And then the biggest question of it all, you know what, let me throw in a bonus one in there. But one of the biggest questions that you're going to have to realistically have for any NFL team is the fact that you have a starting rookie quarterback. Yes, Caleb Williams has so many skills and raw things that make him shape up to be a really great quarterback that could make him a great quarterback, right? But it's still a rookie quarterback. And much to the dismay of some Bears fans that I've been pointing out literally since we drafted him, there's still a chance where he could very well have a normal rookie season. And how do the Bears fans react to that, right? This is the things that could disappoint Bears fans, right? And I don't know if mentally a lot of Bears fans are prepared for if Caleb Williams has a rookie year. And there have been a lot of greats that have normal rookie years. So many Bears fans have worked up this expectation after seeing C.J. Stroud. Not even seeing, because a lot of y'all didn't even watch C.J. Stroud season. Y'all just looking at the numbers. But with that said, based off that they're ready to say what Caleb Williams is or is not based off how much he lives up to what C.J. Stroud did last year. And that's not really a fair comparison, right? Not every great quarterback has a rookie year like that. Now, I do think that the Bears have set up Caleb Williams to have the most success possible, right? Outside of some depth things with that offensive line, they've set him up. But that is a legitimate reason to question how well the Bears are going to do this season based off the fact he is a rookie quarterback. And sometimes rookie quarterbacks make rookie mistakes. And so how well he learns from that, right? That's the thing I've been saying for a while when it comes to Caleb. How well he learns from those rookie mistakes, how well he adapts to things that he does and doesn't repeat some of the same mistakes, that's going to tell the story of just how good to great this rookie season is for Caleb. Won't really tell the story over his career. There's been a lot of rookie quarterbacks that have had bad starts that still have had great careers. But as far as this season, it's going to tell the story that of how fast he learns. And from what we've heard, he's done a pretty damn good job of it so far. You guys can let me know what you guys think on that down below. The last thing that we're going to end on today is Matt Eberflus's comments on Velus Jones Jr. Now, there are a lot of people who question why Velus made this roster. I question why Velus Jones made this roster. But Matt Eberflus made it clear, saying this. He made it just by his efforts and the production he had in practice, in the preseason games, and his willingness to be able to adjust and to adapt and then be able to get that done in terms of performance. I commend the coaches for doing a wonderful job in that. Chad Morton, Jennifer King, Chris Beatty, Shane Waldron, and all the guys that had to work with him and help him be successful. It was really good effort by everybody. Again, it comes down to him being able to do it and his willingness to want to do and the work ethic. And I'm sure that the Bears, he was one of the first draft picks by the Bears in that third round. They hope that he's going to be able to help. And Matt Eberflus says that as well, saying he's going to be a guy for us that we can use in multiple ways. We can put him in the backfield. We can spread him out. We can do a lot of different things, and that's a team need, a benefit. Trying to defend that when it comes into the game is a little bit different than just a normal type of receiver or a guy that can line up in the backfield. I think it creates a little time on task practice-wise for the opponent, and as well as preparation-wise in film study. So if you're taking what Matt Eberflus said for his words, it sounds like they are going to be incorporating Velus Jones into this game plan to where it's enough that other teams have to be at least prepared for it. If you see Velus Jones line up, they're going to try to make teams question, all right, what are they going to do with Velus? How well Velus succeeds in that is up to him, right, and the team overall. But, hey, that's what you have is the reason why Velus Jones is still on this roster. I thought that was an interesting read and comments from Matt Eberflus. And I guess overall, we'll just see how much of that comes to reality. Can Velus Jones be that positionless player that the Bears are hoping that he can be? Let's see. But let me know your guys' thoughts down below. That's my time for today, guys. Make sure you guys are following the show at Shy Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related, thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.